Welcome back, watch fans. We're going to be talking about a very important topic, which is actually a deep philosophical topic, and that is why you need to own a perpetual calendar watch. Why right now you must own a perpetual calendar watch. Now, on the wrist, we got the top G of watches, the Patek Philippe 3940G Final Series white gold. And I am doing this video here up a pretty steep climb. I think it took me about 25 minutes to get up here. I don't know what the angle is, but it was pretty steep. I don't know if this is a mile up or whatever, but it took 25 minutes. You figure it's about a mile roughly. You realize something that you may not be able to do this at 80 years old, right? And life goes by very quickly. And we need to appreciate every moment that we are alive and in good health. It's really all a gift from God. Nothing is promised to you, right? You have really every day that you wake up, and especially if you're in good health, everything else is okay. You should be grateful. And look, I wish I could be, actually follow that. I'd like to. I try to, but it is, it's not easy, right? It's something that we really need to be focused on and conscious of. And the perpetual calendar, bringing things back to the materialism, perpetual calendar really tells you to appreciate life and to appreciate time, okay? And what is special about this type of setup, which is where you have these circular dials, right, the sub-dials, you can see the time moving. You see the time actually moving the way it actually moves in nature. Well, I don't know. We don't actually understand how time works, but, you can actually see it moving, whereas, some of the new, or I don't know, a lot of these perpetual calendars, they just have a little window and, a date pops up, or, a word pops up that tells you, oh, okay, it's Wednesday or whatever, right? I don't think that's really how a perpetual calendar was ever made to function. It's the ultimate perpetual calendar. The only perpetual calendar should be based on this, multi-dial setup where you can see the day of the week, the date, the month, the leap year, and the lunar cycle, as you can see here. Now, again, I said this before in an earlier video, is that this is the ultimate watch. It doesn't get any better than this. Again, I don't care what you have. If it's a $10 million, whatever. I don't care if it's, who cares what you have. It does not get better than this. Everything else after this, after the perpetual calendar, the Patek Philippe perpetual calendar, is just, it is vanity. Okay, it's like if you read Ecclesiastes, written by Solomon, it talks about vanity, and at the end of life, everything at the end is all vanity, right? It all goes away. We're only here for a short time, and you must do everything you can with all your strength. That's what Solomon said, and he was, considered the wisest man of his time, and today he's considered a pretty sharp guy, right? So whether you listen to Solomon, Lao Tzu, or I don't know, whoever, Buddha, whatever you want to listen to, a lot of these guys have some timeless wisdom, the perpetual calendar, when you have this on your wrist, it tells you to appreciate time and to make the most of your time. That is actually the reason why I got it. This is the reason why I wanted it, because at the time I was actually considered the perpetual. This was, a couple of years back, and I was completely out of wearing watches. I didn't wear watches for, 15 years or so. And, some life events happen. You realize life is short, and, you want to make the most of your time. You have a limited amount of time. I discovered the 3940. Now, obviously, it's been around a long time before I so-called discovered it. And, if I was smart, I should have been buying this, 20 years ago. But at the time, I was kind of like, I got into watches in my early 20s or my mid-20s. And then, after a while, I completely got out of them and didn't wear them. So I actually missed out on some windows of opportunity. Now, interestingly, when I got into the hobby, as the kids call it these days, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have all this information that you have now, where you can see every type of watch. You can have all this informational videos. Everybody's an expert now. You got Bobby Google. You got all these, watch experts and gurus. Basically, guys who started flipping watches, 3 or 5 years ago. Now they know everything. They're experts on everything. All the secrets of life, as well, the mysteries of life, and so now you got a lot of advantages, the kids these days, but. So yeah, the perpetual calendar is something I thought, I need to have something which is going to really, I look at it and I can really be conscious of time moving and appreciating and making the most use of my time. The highest and best use of time. That's actually a very serious topic. We waste so much time. I mean, it's really like how many things, if you really count, how many things do we do that are productive? It's crazy. It's really crazy when you think about it. And everybody thinks it's all going to go on forever. That's kind of it's I mean, it's not, but that's the way people think, right? Again, I made this climb here. Are you going to be able to do this? How many times can you do this in life, right? And I do this pretty regularly, but are you going to be able to do this when you're 70, 75, 80? 90, hopefully. Hopefully you get to 80, 90, right? That'd be nice. In good health, very importantly. I had like a toothache. Some sort of, I had a cavity fill and I got an ache the other day, and man, it was painful. And you realize the health is so valuable, so important. We take it for granted. That is the point of the Patek Philippe perpetual calendar. And everybody should get one. I think everybody needs to have, first of all, I think everybody needs to own a perpetual calendar. Now, when I say everybody, you must own. I don't want to, I hate these blanket statements by all these tomato cans, all these expert YouTube gurus, these, know-it-alls. Everybody must own a Submariner. Every collector, every serious collection must have a Man on the Moon Omega calendar because it was the first watch to go on the moon. That's why you must own it. Oh my God. But I actually do believe that this is a perpetual calendar, again, with this setup. You must own it. If you appreciate your life, if you want to appreciate the value of time, if you take your time seriously, you should get one. It's just an important philosophical thing. Now, again, it doesn't have to be this. Again, this is the top of the mountain. This is the top. Now, you can't really see, but it is pretty high up. This is really the pinnacle, okay? It doesn't get any better than this. I'm sorry, it doesn't. I don't care if you're talking about Audemars Piguet, you're talking about whatever. This is it, okay? Philippe Stern himself, that's right. The guy he has his face on a watch. Patek put his face on a watch. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, that guy actually wore one of these every day. That was his everyday beater in gold, yellow gold. Now, again, I think the white gold is the way to go. I'm partial to the rose gold. I probably would have gotten the rose, but what I like about the white is it's very contemporary and timeless, okay? When you get into yellow and rose gold, and you see my videos, I love the two-tone. Those watches, they look a little more mature, shall we say, right? The white gold is timeless and classic, and it is something that, again, the design also, it's also very, very low key. It's a watch that you can wear. Well, I don't want to say anywhere because you're not going to wear it to the beach. Again, I've said this before. It's not a beach wearing watch. It is it's really meant to be worn under a French cuff, so because you got the double folds really to protect it, right? But so what do you need to get? Now you can get one of these from let's say JLC, or I'm trying to think who makes perpetuals right now. under in the 10 grand range. There's a couple things out there. If you go to Chrono and you, let's say, look up Perpetual, and you search low to high, you're going to come across a few under 10 grand. And the only question is are they functioning? See, this is guys. Don't try this at home. You don't want to go hiking on one of these trails with a lot of rocks, wearing a let's just say an expensive and delicate watch like this, because you saw that guy almost tripped up, and yeah, you could trip up, and that's all you need is to just hit a rock, and boom, you're gonna be sending some money to Geneva. So basically you can find a decent Perpetual for, I would say, under in the 10 grand or under. There's a couple of off brands, and I think JLC is very reliable. I think they power some of the other movements out there. The one thing, again, you want to make sure it's working, because if it's not, it's expensive to repair. The service cost could be pricey. I actually need to get this serviced. Put some WD-40 in there and all that. I think I got a gear that needs a tooth little thing there. So I've heard different prices, but worse than that is how much time it takes. Like, if I give this to Patek, I give this to Patek now, I may not get it for, I've heard crazy stories. I've heard 6 months. I've heard a year. What do I do in the meantime? Again, I said life is short. It's like, the watch is so expensive that, if you're not using it for 6 months, it's like, it's a big deal. Because every day you have it, it's money. Now here's the thing: these things are actually appreciating in value quite a bit. There is a silent bull market, a stealth bull market that is happening with the Patek Philippe 3940s. Okay, we're in a stealth bull market. Prices have increased. So, for example, this model, and I'm not going to mention price because it's it's uncouth. A gentleman doesn't talk about money. So, look, the prices have basically increased quite a bit in just the last couple of years. I actually got very lucky with this. I did a trade from another Patek, which was the the 5970R, was it? Yeah. There's an old video I have on the channel, which is the rose gold with the baguettes. And I told you why I didn't like it, but anyway, I did a lateral trade, and this actually increased quite a bit, whereas that one has pretty much stayed the same. Maybe dropped a little bit. Hard to say, because that was more of a hype watch, or it became more of a hype watch, whereas this is really a classic. So you definitely need to get yourself a Perpetual calendar. Now, a lot of you tomato cans, a lot of you knuckleheads, you have collections. You have like $100,000 plus, 6-figure, maybe even 7-figure collections, right? There's a lot of tomato cans that have 6-figure collections, and all they have is, they got the usual suspects. They got their one of each Rolex. They got the Daytona, the Submariner, the date, and of course, the man on the moon. At the end of the day, all they got is a bunch of, sports watches that have no meaning, and everybody's got one. Nobody has one of these. I guarantee you. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to exaggerate. But look, you're not going to find, this watch. You're not going to find a Patek Perpetual calendar on the wrist of the hoi polloi, okay? I'm talking about even, serious watch collectors. Most of them do not have one of these, okay? Or they should, they whatever. But, everybody's got a Rolex. Everybody's got a date. Everybody's got a Royal Oak. Everybody's got a Nautilus. This you will not find. This is, and again, it's a very low-key stealth. Nobody knows what you're wearing except for the right people. That's right. Only the right people will know. Not the hoi polloi, not the riffraff. And you don't want to associate with the hoi polloi and the riffraff. This, when you wear this watch, they're not going to approach you. You know why? Because the hoi polloi, they only want to associate themselves with somebody who's flashing a yellow gold date or something, because they're hoi polloi and riffraff. They want to have some of that high energy, some of that success and money rub off on them. So that's why they want to approach you. But when they see this, they think, oh, it's a Timex or something. So they stay away, and only the Illuminati, the aristocrats, will deign to approach you. So yes, this is a very unique watch. Now look, life is short, as I said before. You guys have like 6-figure collections, and you don't have one of these. You're really missing the whole point. You're missing the whole point. This is it, my friends. This is the ultimate watch. Everybody needs to have an ultimate watch. I'm not saying even Grail. I'm saying ultimate, the be-all, end-all, the alpha, the omega. And I'm not talking about the Omega Watch Company. I would definitely trade in whatever garbage you have and get yourself one of these. All you really need is a perpetual calendar, a Patek Philippe perpetual calendar, and a basic, tool watch, your Rolex Yachtmaster, your Rolex, Submariner, if you want to, fit in with all the riffraff on the, riding the subway and the tube and the public transportation. You get the black dial. Nah, but basically, look, there's a lot of good choices. Decent Rolex beater. I'd get a vintage. That's the way I would do it. If you're going to have a 2-watch collection, and again, this is one of these things everybody says, oh, all you need is a 2-watch or 1-watch or 3-watch, whatever it is. Look, I think what you really need, my friends, is I think 2 watches can do it. If you have a perpetual calendar like this, right? This is, again, the ultimate watch. So wherever you go, whatever room you are in, you are going to know 99.9% that your watch is the best watch, and probably costs more than all the cars that these people own. By the way, I'm not talking about plumbers convention. Okay, I'm talking about heavy hitters. It's funny. The other day I bumped into a guy who runs a big hedge fund, multi-billion. Guys who are multi-billionaire. Young guy. I mean, he's in his 40s, and he had a Patek Nautilus on an orange strap. And you know what? This is gonna sound really bad. Cue the horse shit. But this is gonna sound really bad. So, and obviously, look, what's that orange Nautilus? What is that? I think that's the dual time or something. And it kind of gave me a good feeling that, I was wearing a better watch. Actually, no. To be honest, I was not wearing this watch at that time. Maybe I don't know if I was or not. But let's say if I was, again, look, it's not about ego, one-upmanship, but it kind of is. Guys, you have to be real. That's kind of what life is about. A lot of times, it's about climbing the ladder, status, vanity. That's kind of what it is in our material world. As long as you don't take it seriously. You can't take these things seriously, because it's all like this grains of sand, It just goes, and after you're gone, you're nothing, right? Somebody else gets all your money. Nobody remembers you after a while, and we all come into the world naked and we leave naked, right? So while you're here, you want to own something which you can say, wow, I own the best product. Like, I've worked hard. I have, invested time. I've made sacrifices. and while all the tomato cans were at the pub drinking Guinness, standing outside like they do in London. Those mooch bums. You walk around London, 5 o'clock, they're all standing outside drinking beer. I mean, this is the crazy. By the way, that's pretty weird, no? What? How do they stand outside for like an hour to be standing and drinking beer? Which is kind of weird. I think it's always best to be sitting, but obviously these little pubs, they're crowded, right? So, and it's raining, it's drizzling, and they're standing outside. But I don't know if you're going to get a Patek Perpetual by drinking beer at 5 p.m. As soon as it turns 5, you're going down there for that. Actually, I like Guinness, but what do they drink? I think a lot of the English drink some urine water. I actually prefer Guinness and fish and chips. Fish and chips. Okay, actually my favorite pub that had good fish and chips is the one that's off of Bond Street. I don't know if any of you know where the Bonham's auction house is. You go kind of around, I think it's called a Spread Eagle or something, and they have little tables outside. I think it's between New Bond Street and Oxford. I just know how to get there. And it's pretty good. You can sit outside, have your fish and chips, your Guinness. You can smoke a cigar. That's the beautiful thing about Europe. You can sit outside smoking a cigar, drinking. You can be drinking middle of the day. You can start drinking in the morning. In the U.S., the Americans look down on these things. The Americans don't even drink during lunch. That's right. It's amazing. I remember, and I'm not even that old, but I think in the mid '90s, you could have, for sure in the '90s, when you went to lunch, you had a glass of wine or maybe even a martini. I remember having 2 martinis. Then I'd be totally wasted. But you have a steak lunch, you get a martini, you go to Delmonico's, you get that steak lunch. I remember having many lunches like that. And it's a nice feeling. You get back to work, you're kind of a little drunk, but you're in a good mood. And I think if you're in sales, it's probably good because then you're kind of more loosened up a little bit, Again, I'm not saying you should do it to excess, but but the Americans don't appreciate enjoying life. That's why the Americans don't buy the Patek Philippe Perpetual calendar. It's only the aristocracy, the Europeans, the Japanese appreciate this. Unbelievable but true. So you could definitely. You have no excuse. You got no excuse for not owning a perpetual calendar. By the way, I'm not on the payroll of any of these companies. I'm not a commission. I'm just sharing with you, some wisdom. Nobody told me any of these things. So, let's figure, hey, let me give something back to the punters. Let me give something back to the community, the watch community, because it's all about the community. All right, you knuckleheads. So make sure you click the like, subscribe button. Dump all your redundant, duplicate, Rolex, your Omegas. Get yourself one good watch. All you need is one good perpetual calendar and, a good... Rolex, basic Rolex. I don't care if it's a, Datejust 41, beautiful. I think that's a good combo. You get yourself a Datejust. Actually, I definitely would get a Yachtmaster. I would get, if I had to do 2 watches, I would get one of these or some other perpetual, maybe a JLC perpetual, and precious metal. I would not get a stainless. Precious metal, perpetual, and I would get like a good beater watch, like a Yachtmaster with a blue dial. That would be it. That's all really that you need, or maybe a 2-tone, whatever. But that's really all you need. Maybe a vintage Datejust or something like that. That's all you really need. Everything else is just kind of redundant or this or that. But if I were you, I would hurry because these things are becoming more and more expensive, with inflation, labor costs. They're actually quite expensive to produce. And the prices are just going up. So that means all the inventory that's out there, the used watches, they're taking up in price as well, because, if some again, if somebody can't afford a heavy hitter, they're going to buy one for like 15 grand or whatever. And once those are gone, then the 10 grand ones. So you know what happens. Basically, the rising tide lifts all boats in the watch game. Okay, click the like, subscribe button. See you all on the next one.